Hey guys, welcome back to Coal Country Homestead. So today is a snow day, which means Zachary is home for the day, which means he gets to do his other job, also known as the honey-do list. So something that has been on our list for quite some time now is a new thing that we purchased, sharpening our knives. We have quite a collection of random knives, some that we've had for many years and others that we've just purchased within the past year and suck. So it is time today to get it done. And we thought we'd bring you along the way since this is new to us and give you an honest review of what we think of it.
See how easy it is to use. Looks like it has a 3-stage sharpening process, which should be pretty self-explanatory.
I will try and find a link to this to share with all of you in the description. We purchased this from Kohl's online, and I believe I got it with like a discount code, and I'll try and put in the description how much I actually paid for it.
3 sharpening processes and 3 different settings: thick, medium, and thin knives. So we're going to plug it in and get started.
Pause to read the instructions.
Okay, so one of the questions we were unsure about was this Henkel's knife is serrated, and it says, can I sharpen serrated knives with my knife sharpener? Yes, with the exception of electrical serrated knives or knives serrated on both sides. Okay, so use only the slots in stages 2 and 3 and only sharpen the smooth side of the knife blade, the sides without the serration. So one side is serrated on these Henkel's knives and the other side is flat. So we're going to be sharpening the flat side of the knife, which will then leave the serrated edge but sharpen the very edge of it.
And I've asked before for recommendations on good knives to buy, and this is always at the top of the list, this Henkel's brand. And I have to be entirely honest, I've hated these knives. These have been my least favorite knives that we have owned. My favorite knife is actually dirty right now. It's a Tupperware knife. But beyond that, this was always at the top of the list. So tell me if I've done something wrong.
We read through the directions and got a basic idea of what we're going to be doing and how to do it properly. So we're going to turn it on. And the way this sharpener works is that there's ceramic blades of different grits in each of the slots, and a motor turns the blades or the wheels, and then there's a guide on either side of each blade or each wheel that is going to be, you're going to be backing the knife against that guide, and that's what's going to give you your perfect sharpening angle. So we'll turn it on. Which one you want to do first?
Well, let's go with the old Holiday.
This one?
Now the one all the way closest to you.
This one?
Yes. I have had that knife for like 12 years. I've owned those knives.
Okay, so this one is extremely dull. Doesn't even feel sharp at all, so I'm gonna insert it with this end of the blade and into the wheel. You're gonna alternate back and forth between the slots 3 times on each side. So what we figured out so far, I want to show you on this first knife. Can you see that, Sam?
Let me see if we can get some better lighting. There we go.
You see the nick?
Bring it just a little bit closer. Yes, there.
That nick, that wasn't there before we started. And so what happened was, when you first put the knife in, if you already have to be moving, you already have to have your motion coming towards you, pulling towards you. So I hesitated for a second as I put the first knife in, and that's what caused that little nick. So it got sharp, but now there's a little nick in it. But as we sharpen it in the future, that'll wear away. The other thing I noticed and read briefly about was when you have a curved knife, like a regular kitchen knife, you want to start by going with the contour of the blade, and then as you get to the end, you want to lift up to keep that contour of the blade on the wheel. So it takes about 3 minutes. We timed it, so about 3 minutes for each knife. So we got 3 knives down, and now we're going to do the rest. And also it's really noisy, so that's why we're doing a time lapse, and you might want to do this outside or put some earplugs in. It's a little bit noisy. But the other thing is, you don't want to use the knife without washing it or wiping it down after you're done, because all the metal shavings collect on the knife, so it's pretty dirty.
Does the sharpener itself have somewhere where the metal shavings go, like to empty it?
No, I don't think so, but I can see that it's all over the place.
Okay, hold on, let me show everyone that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to do this somewhere where you don't want to be around food.
Like not on your kitchen island.
Pretty much, yeah.
Don't do what we're doing. But those are all metal shavings collecting.
Yeah, I would say the best thing to do is just take this outside on your porch or something, and especially if you're doing multiple knives.
You can see it all over the machine itself.
Yeah, it's just dusty metal shaving. So.
All right, so back to it.
Okay, so now we're going to try to sharpen the serrated blade. So we're only going to be doing the left section of the sharpening areas. And we're going to go through each one 3 different times. And then we'll see how this actually turns out. But if you can catch it on video.
It is hard to see. Oh, there you go. You can see the serrated.
Okay, so that's the serrated side, how that looks. And then this side is just flat all the way down the serration. So what the point is going to create an edge here that's going to...
You gotta hold it up a little more, I can see. There you go.
So the idea of this one is going to be to create a sharp edge on this side that's going to meet with this side. Eventually, as you sharpen it multiple times, the serration will disappear and it'll become a regular chef knife. after doing the serrated knife, what I noticed was that going through all the steps properly, at the end, there's still these little pieces of the serrated edge that broke off. Now, it's not like they chipped off. This is from grinding it, and they're all even, but they all stayed on there. So I'm having to like go through and manually brush those off.
Which that could be absolutely super dangerous to someone who is using this and is unaware of that, right?
Right, yeah, like you won't want to just use this after.
You could end up with that in your food.
Yeah, like if I wouldn't have noticed that, that would have been bad. So I don't know how well I would say the whole sharpening a serrated knife with this went. Almost want to take like a file and just go over it slightly, but they're coming off.
Mm-hmm.
But you just have to carefully go through and remove them manually.
But you have like a mechanical inclination. Most people, like the average Susie homemaker, myself included, wouldn't be looking at the knife like that.
Right, so I mean, it looks like it turned out all right after I cleaned it, but doesn't feel super sharp. I mean, it does feel sharp, but you could tell that the serrations are like together now. They're not scalloped as much as they used to be.
Well, I hated that knife to begin with.
Well, I mean, I think it'll work. So we'll just have to test it out and see how it works. But this one definitely needs to be cleaned real good before we use it.
You want to hold that one up so people can see like what you're talking about more?
Well, I took them all off now, but
Up a little bit. What's that like right at the front there?
yeah, you can see it.
I see.
At the front.
Like a very little
Little thin layer of metal that has to be peeled off. And that was down the whole blade. You can see it at the end here too.
Hold it up a little bit more. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. I see it so perfectly. You see all the little things. So that's basically like fine metal shaving.
Yeah.
And that could very easily end up. Yeah, I see it all over your finger too. Now, where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it loses a ton of points for me with that.
Yeah. All right, so let's sharpen the rest of these. Okay, so we're all finished up sharpening the knives that we wanted to sharpen. So we have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 knives that we sharpened. Probably took about.
You've been doing this for about an hour since we started.
About an hour. Wow. All right, so I mean, it takes 3 to 5 minutes a knife, depending on how much sharpening you actually want to do. But the recommended is to do 3 passes per side. What's up, Hunter boy? What's up, buddy? It's old man. But so far my thoughts are that it worked well. I mean, all the knives after their final pass seem nice and sharp, like they're really gonna cut good for Sam. So I'm looking forward to seeing her use them and see how they work out. But if you don't like sharpening knives by hand, yeah, I mean, if you want to just do this once a month or something, then I mean, this is probably a good investment for you. Like I said, it seemed like it worked out well. The final test will be for cutting up some chicken, checking out how they work, cutting up chicken and stuff. So
you definitely see the mess.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely makes a mess. So I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing it in your kitchen like we did. Lots of dust. There's a pile of metal shavings here. It kind of got all over all of the knives as they were sharpened. It does say in the manual to make sure that you wipe down each knife before use, with probably like a damp cloth or something, or just running them under the water for a little bit, maybe with some light dish soap to get that stuff off, because you don't want that in your food. But I mean, as you can see, it cuts through pretty well, so I'm happy with it.
So far, what would you say, like 1 to 10?
I give it like an 8.
8 overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tedious, but I mean, when you're doing this many knives, you don't really have a choice. I'd rather do it like this than manually sharpen 12 knives. So, yeah.
So, I mean, you obviously did this, and I probably will never ever do it. You'll probably always be the one doing it. I'm the one using the knives.
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, watching you, I probably could have.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
it wasn't
it's
something
not that hard. I mean, like I said, you just want to make sure you start moving right away,
Mhm.
and then you want to move with just a nice even, not really putting any pressure down. You kind of want to let the knife uh, weigh itself down into the wheel, without, if you put too much pressure, what I notice is it bogs down the motor. So you don't want to do that. And then you just want to keep the backside of the knife against the guide as you're sharpening, and that'll give you your perfect 45-degree cut angle. So pretty self-explanatory. It's got, like I said, thick, thin, and medium. So we were using medium most of the time. We had a couple ones that were a little smaller, but basically what that does is it just moves the orange guides back and forth, which just gives it more space for a thicker knife. I mean, that this isn't really something that matters that much. You can do it on any setting and it'll still work.
So pretty foolproof.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I say so.
The jury's still out on the serrated. We'll have to see when I use that.
Yep. Yeah, just want to make sure we get all those little pieces off, which I think I did for the most part. Except for at the two ends, there's a little piece left. But yeah, we'll see how this one actually cuts. I mean, it still feels pretty sharp.
So knives are kind of a never-ending saga in our house too, because we have such a variety of different ones. Like I said, we haven't found any that we specifically like love. Besides this one is my Tupperware one, and this one seems to be a favorite. What would you say that your favorite knife is? Because I'm going to pick my favorite knife and your favorite knife, and those are what I'm going to test on the chicken that I'm prepping tomorrow.
I mean, none of these knives are really my favorite.
But out of what we have.
I mean, out of what we have, I'd say probably the Forged and Fire one and the Tupperware one. So these two are probably the best ones we have. This one's definitely a lot heavier. It's still pretty well balanced, so it holds well in your hand. It's kind of comfortable. This one is pretty well balanced, much lighter, easier to use. It doesn't have as smooth as a top. It has kind of an edge top, so if you're like me and you chop with your finger over it like that, then that kind of hurts a little bit. As compared to this one, it's a little more smooth there, so it's a little more comfortable, but this one's a lot heavier. But if you guys have knives besides the ones that we have, like the Tupperware, Forged in Fire, or the Henkel's knives that you really like, let us know in the comments, because we're still looking for the perfect knife. I mean,
I've also heard of like Rata, I think it's called, and I think one of these maybe even, I think we may have like a Rata or a Cutco. I'm not interested in those ones. I've heard about it, but they're not my jam. I'm not interested in those ones. So if you have something besides that you would recommend, let us know.
Yep.
But thanks for watching. I, as usual, have bombarded Zachary, and he didn't know he'd be doing this today. So he's going to be rewarded with some dinner that's going on right now. So thanks for tuning in. As usual, I hope you got something good out of this. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please be sure to like and subscribe to continue on our journey to a more sustainable life. And just we thank you.
Catch you on the next one.
We'll see ya.
See ya.